Welcome to the HSS podcast, where we talk to the movers and shakers of the African healthcare sector with me, Lenias Hwenda. Today, my next guest is Madam Lamia Tazi, the chairwoman and CEO of Sothema, a pharmaceutical manufacturing company in Morocco that has been serving the needs of patients in Africa and in the Middle East since 1976. Sothema is a leader in manufacturing serums, antimicrobial products like antibiotics, such as cephalosporins, and it is the only company, I understand, that produces insulin on the African continent. Recently, Sothema announced a partnership with Sinopharm to make Sinopharm's inactivated COVID-19 vaccine, which is one of the few that has received emergency use authorization from the WHO. Madam Lamia Tazi, the chairwoman of the board and the Chief Executive Officer of Sothema, will be here to tell us more. Madam Lamia Tazi, welcome to the HSS podcast. Let's talk about health in Africa.
Bonjour, hi everyone, and thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure to have you, and bonjour aussi. Peut-être la prochaine fois, je vais essayer de faire toute la conversation en français, mais aujourd'hui, on l'a fait en anglais.
Ah, la prochaine fois, vous serez obligé, oui.
C'est vrai, d'accord,
Okay.
je suis d'accord. Okay, let's get started. Madam Tazi, I understand that you are doing a lot of R&D, and one of your R&D projects, developing a product which addresses antimicrobial resistance, which was done in collaboration with Moroccan scientists, received a Best Project Award from the European Office of Patents for one of those products that are addressing antimicrobial resistance. Congratulations. Was this award a very proud moment for you and for your team?
Thank you. So let me first thank you for having me in your show. I'd like to congratulate your organization for being an advocate for a strong, viable African pharmaceutical industry. No question that the availability of medicines in Africa remains one of the biggest issues of our continent, especially during pandemics. And the best way to address that it's scientific cooperation with the Biotechnology Center of the University of Fez, which is a big city in Morocco, run by a famous scientist named Dr. Adnan Rmel, has come a fruition. Today, Sothema is the first Moroccan pharmaceutical company that has produced an innovative medicine resulted from 100% R&D project. This antibiotic boosted by essential oil is a great contribution to the health systems around the world, especially in Africa and the Arab world. As you know, the WHO considers antibiotic resistance as one of the biggest health issues in all parts of the world, and the growing list of infections are becoming harder and sometimes impossible to treat as antibiotics become less effective. So our antibiotic aims to undermine this resistance by using a natural booster based on essential oils and therefore helping patients recover from infections. Our antibiotic is now registered in Morocco, and we hope to see it registered in other African and Arab countries. We are proud that our antibiotic won the award of the best R&D project from the European Office of Patents, and it's the first time that an African project receives such a distinction.
Wonderful. It's really great to see an African company investing in R&D, because that is one of the areas that really African companies, African governments need to invest in more as we go forward from this pandemic. So great work at Sothema, and indeed,
Thank you.
Antibiotic resistance is a big problem globally. It's a global problem. So it's wonderful to see an African company contributing to global challenges in this way. Now, clearly, Sothema is committed to investing in R&D. What is your ambition for generating more products developed by scientists in Morocco?
Yeah. As you said, R&D in Morocco and globally in Africa is not easy for private sector, you know. It requires big investments with high risks of failure, and generates minor returns due to the small size of the market. I think that everyone knows this. And from our side, we had this experience. It was a really exciting experience, but long and very expensive. And I think that if you really want to continue to invest in that sector, then we should specialize in certain phases of the R&D process, because doing the whole process is very difficult for African company. So we have to be specialized, for example, doing galenic development, helping for make clinical trials of certain medicines in development in our countries. We can start by this. And I think the experience of Sothema in that regard is inspiring. We had the chance to develop it, but also to participate and to build the first 2 clinical trials made in our country. The first one is for a monoclonal antibody in the treatment of cancer, and second one is the COVID-19 vaccine candidate, Sinopharm. Sothema was proud to build the clinical trial in Morocco. So thanks to these 2 projects, Morocco is on the way of becoming an international center for clinical trials in industry worth by billions of dollars with a 2-digit growth annually. Sothema has also the ambition of partnering with promising African and Arab startups in the healthcare sector, to help address the problems that so many African and Arab regions are facing. We can talk a lot about R&D. So I say that we have to start slowly and to start by things that could be easily done in our countries.
And great success you have had that you can build on with this antimicrobial product. And you are building your capabilities to expand your clinical research experience. So this is great. And indeed, R&D is a very expensive process. Yeah. And in nowhere, even global multinationals are really leveraging a lot on the research that is publicly funded. So I'm sure in Africa, the model has to be quite similar. Otherwise, perhaps it is too expensive, too costly for companies to do it alone to fund the entire process of R&D.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have to have strong universities and strong scientists, which not in the private sector, unfortunately. And as you said, even in rich countries, private sector is not investing in research. They are just buying startups from universities or something like that. That's what we are saying now. That we are seeing now, and I think the model will be hard now today for African countries, as we know they have other priorities to do. So, as I told you, we have to start by something, and we have to start easily.
Absolutely. I agree. I completely agree with you. Now, you know, I follow closely the developments in this pharmaceutical sector in Africa and globally. And I did not know that Sothema is manufacturing insulin on African soil. In fact, there is an understanding out there that there is not a single company on African soil that makes insulin. So I think a lot of people don't know this either, but Sothema is the first company in Africa to produce insulin since 1982. So you have been doing this for quite some time. This means you've been making insulin for almost 40 years. Can you tell us how you started insulin production? Did you receive a technology transfer agreement and know-how support to get you started with manufacturing insulin, or did you start as a contract manufacturer and then developed from there?
Yes, Sothema has the chance to manufacture insulin, and we started in 1982, and thanks to a tech transfer from Eli Lilly, a US company that discovered the insulin back in 1921. So Lily helped us building the plant and training our pharmacists and the employees on the pharmaceutical techniques and procedures in every stage of production. So we were in the license, and this license permit us to have this know-how and this technology. This plant was the first that manufactures insulin in the African and Arab countries. Of course, that was a huge achievement, not just for Sothema, but also for Morocco, because Morocco, we know that there are many diabetics, unfortunately, in our countries, and it was a big challenge since a few companies in the world were capable of doing it. Yes, we had the technology. It helped us to do more. And now going from this technology of manufacturing insulin, we are capable to do other molecules, biological molecules like insulin, like in oncology, in other specialties, and thanks to this tech transfer done from Eli Lilly.
Wonderful. So you're working with one of the largest producers. You collaborated with one of the largest producers of insulin in the world, one of the world leaders. That's pretty fantastic. And of course, diabetes is not just a growing burden in Morocco alone. All over the African continent, this is a huge time bomb, a growing problem that countries will have to deal with in the years to come. And we are not picking up a lot of it. There is a significant level of underdiagnosis, not diagnosing people who have insulin. So I think this is really needed on the African continent because of that burden. And so, but the problem with insulin has been that there is just a few manufacturers globally who are making it, which has made it very expensive, especially for the African market. And at the moment, there is a great need for alternative manufacturers who can provide quality insulin at an affordable cost. Do you see, or do you think Sothema will be able to step into this gap to fill this need and to do it cost effectively compared to the larger players?
Yeah. Just to complete the information, you are right. The challenge is very big. Diabetes is spreading at high speed, all ages, especially in Africa. A recent study published by The Lancet showed that in 1930, the world would suffer huge shortages of insulin due to the small number of manufacturers in the world. And Africa, unfortunately, is expected to be the continent that will suffer with the most from this problem. That's why it's vital to not just protect this industry, but also make sure that it grows and helps treat large numbers of patients. That means that the price has to be competitive, and the African patient has to get this insulin. For example, Morocco, we are the only manufacturer. We are giving more than 4 million vials a year for diabetes in Morocco, and the government is giving for free this insulin for citizens, which is very good. And we expect that other African countries will do the same. Yes, in terms of capacity, yes, Sothema is willing to be a big player in Africa. The problem is that we're still small, and we're still small comparing to big companies, and special one, which is huge in all the world, and which is really damping the prices in African countries. Because you know that almost African government are buying their drugs and this insulin by international tenders. And these international public tenders, we know that it is done by big companies and big associations. And in this case, African company as Sothema, it's not easy for it to enter these big tenders. So the really way to have it is to have the preference in the country. Countries has to know that if they don't protect the investments of their companies internally, they cannot have this technology. And it's exactly what Morocco done. Morocco now is protecting this industry, this manufacturing of insulin. We have a preference in our country. It is done also in Egypt, I know, in Algeria. Egypt, especially because they are manufacturing. And if the community of African don't think about this protection and this preference to the local manufacturing, I don't think that we will have this technology, unfortunately, in these countries.
You're absolutely right that market access is a big problem, a big challenge for local manufacturers in Africa. And if African governments are serious about developing and creating an environment that allows this industry to grow, they will have to think about those issues, how they can improve and protect local companies so that they can also get market share and be able to run businesses that are sustainable. So besides Morocco, you're supplying at the moment in Morocco. It sounds as though the government has really given an offtake agreement that allows you to be able to sell the products that you're making. But where else on the African continent are you, and in the Arab world, are you supplying your insulin besides Morocco?
We are supplying many West African countries like Senegal, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Mali. All the French African countries are using our insulin. And we are also providing in some Arabic countries like Libya, like Yemen, and Iraq and other countries.
That's wonderful. Well, would like to see it spread, hopefully, to East Africa, to Southern Africa, so that you can expand your footprint on the market and we can provide security to patients on the African continent, especially when things aren't able to move from external suppliers. Now, many countries on the continent have been participating in the African Medicines Regulatory Harmonization Initiative, which was leading to the creation of the African Medicines Agency. And that is one of the things that is going to enable companies like Sothema to be able to easily access global markets, but in particular markets on the continent beyond where you are at the moment. Is there collaboration within countries of the Maghreb to reduce at least the regulatory barriers that gets in the way sometimes of being able to bring products into new markets?
Yeah, exactly, yes. This harmonization is very important for us. It is done by some countries, yes, but I think that it's not enough. I think we don't give the real advantage of this collaboration, and it has to be more effective to permit reducing the barriers between our markets. So yes, this agency has the potential for harmonizing the procedures of quality control, and for a company like Sothema, it is very important because it will guarantee that all the medicines brought to Africa are of good quality. So it will be easier for Sothema as a strong company and a quality company known by this quality. It will be more easier to penetrate certain markets dominated by Asian companies. You know very well that Asian medicines are very present in all African and especially in East Africa, and we hope that a Moroccan company with this ratification can enter with her quality and with her products to these countries. As you know, we are certified by international health authorities. So if Africa wants the best quality, I think that this AMA will also make it easier for Sothema in terms of simplify the regulatory procedures.
And I think that's why conversations like this are really important, to really get the word out, that there are companies out there like Sothema that are making products, biologics that are desperately needed in Africa at a very high quality standards, being certified by international regulatory agencies that would really, that shows that obviously you're producing quality products that could satisfy the needs in African countries.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. It sets a great example that Morocco has already ratified and deposited, I believe, it's the AMA Treaty, the African Medicines Agency Treaty, and I understand it will be coming into effect not long from now. So I think this is also good news.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yes, absolutely. If you support our work, please do subscribe, like, and share our podcast. We'd also love to hear from you. So do please send in your comments and your feedback on some of the things that you'd like to hear us discuss on this podcast. Thank you for watching.